We had really good growth last year and had a really good operating budget. We started off, as Craig said, in a pretty unpredictable position financially. The government put on hold the AOF program, which put us into big uncertainty as to where we were standing, and 4 of our project proposals were rejected initially. Thankfully, this was a short-lived situation, and we had to turn around when we received funding for 3 of those projects, including the dryland grain corn, the irrigated hemp agronomy, and our hail management. With this funding for the corn, we actually managed to secure a corn header and a monosem row crop planter, which will increase our capacity to do research. And we also took on extra contract research and demonstration plots to generate additional revenue. So with this extra work, cautious spending, and cutbacks in our extension events, we managed to keep all of our staff and in the end come out ahead. And it's pretty clear after this year, extension really doesn't pay. And we were able to save some time by not hosting some of these events, and we could put that time to new projects and demonstration plots. Last year, we were asked by Pioneer to seed the training plots on their site because they figured that we could actually do a better job than they had in the past, which was pretty cool. Late in the season, we actually did get approval for 1 year of funding for our AOF grant. It was a reduced amount, however. And obviously, we were affected last year by politics, but turmoil in government. We applied for 3 years of funding for this year. Haven't received any confirmation yet, but we're hopeful that agriculture will remain a line item within the budget. In 2016, we'll host 4 plot hops, the field school, Medicine Hat Field Day, and the conference. There'll be a slight change, however, to the way we operate our crop walks. They will now be plot hops, and we'll be offering more of a networking opportunity, so we'll have lunch and a small fee to help cover the costs of that event. Obviously, we are the same as everybody else, and we got hit by the drought. Only there's no crop insurance for research plots. After some scrambling to establish our plots in the spring with late approvals on projects, we had to make the tough call and pull the plug on our Medicine Hat sites. A lot of it we couldn't manage to save, though the Gill family made a really commendable effort and hauled water to help us irrigate some of the priority projects. And believe it or not, we did actually manage to harvest some of those corn plots there. They were low, but we did manage to get some data off of it anyway, so that was a plus. So people at Farming Smarter last year, we did see somewhat of a decline in the number of people, and I think it's just because we had a lower number of events. We had to cancel the crop walks, and because of the drought, we also had to cancel the Medicine Hat Field Day, but we were able to make that up as a workshop later in the year. The field school, we had really great feedback from all the sessions, especially the CSI module. We hosted the BTAP, the Blood Tribe Agriculture Producers, for some agriculture and agronomy training. We also had the Lethbridge College students get their hands-on experience at our site. This year they helped us harvest biomass samples, so hand harvesting our hemp. And they came back and helped us combine it when it was dry enough. And believe it or not, some of it was too dry, so we did have a couple small fires in the combine, which was a little bit scary. Late in the summer, we had our disease crop walk. And we had participants crawling through the tall standing canola looking for sclerotinia and other things. And as I mentioned, due to the drought, we canceled our Medicine Hat tour, but we were able to make it up with this workshop late in October and had a really good turnout, and people seemed to really enjoy it. So it might be one of those considerations on the off years when we're not in Medicine Hat to have a workshop, so the conference to offset that slightly. In November, we took 25 participants and went to Germany. We spent 10 action-packed days touring around, having fun. And these trips are a really great way for us to get to know our members better and understand more what you guys are looking for and develop those stronger relationships. And we wrapped up the year with our conference at the coast, which was a really great venue. Although I did hear some complaining about finding parking spots. I don't know, my suggestion, I guess, would just show up earlier. I never seem to have an issue finding a parking spot. I know, I'm sorry. Economic impact. Every year we do this sort of analysis. We look back as to if we're providing value, and we look at the extension stories that we put out, and the number of people that come to the events, and all these different sort of criteria that we can measure. And we use that to kind of come up with this economic impact. And as you can see, we've been improving in what we do, and we improve to help you guys improve what you do. Our extension stories. So it makes sense to me, we had fewer events. Fewer events means less media coverage. But the other thing to note is, actually I was looking online last year and I think we missed counting some of the stories that were out there, so this number isn't quite accurate. So we have extension stories. Western Producer tends to run lots of our events and stories from speakers. We also get coverage from Alberta Farmer Express, Grain News, CTV, Global News, Lethbridge Herald, and realagriculture.com. Our small plot trials last year, we had a slight decrease in the number of the small plot research trials, but had more demonstration plots. And the other thing that this didn't take into consideration is the research projects that we're leading. So there are sites on other association or organizations that aren't included in this, but they're doing the research for us. FarmingSmarter.com, we still want this to be the hub of information for farmers. And the number of page views stayed relatively constant last year, but the number of unique visitors that went to our site were substantially increased. And the other thing to note here is that on the next slide you'll see our YouTube minutes. More people are going to YouTube to watch our videos than they are on our website. That's why I think the number has declined on the other end there. But we have seen a substantial increase in YouTube. And Twitter followers, again, we're seeing an increase. Last year we gained around 1,500 followers between all the Farming Smarter accounts. And staff. This was the picture we took last year, so we had all our summer students and everybody in around except for Adil. He's our contract scientist, and I'm sure most of you have met him. We also have some new faces. Dawn, if you wouldn't mind, everybody saw her at the registration desk, stand and wave. She's our new office administrator, office manager. Not sure what the title is we decided on. And Cam as well was at the registration desk. He's on a contract. He'll be with us for at least the next year. And then 2 summer students here on the top right is Matt, and he'll be coming back. And then just underneath him is Chelsea Barani. Hubble, I'm not sure what she goes with. Sorry, Hubble. Those are our 2 summer students. And of course, we say this year goodbye to Elizabeth. I'm not trying to be rude. We love Elizabeth, but she decided to move on.
She's not here.
And the other thing is we're really excited about the possibility we're working with a close to retiring AFC scientist, and we're looking to get him on contract, at least part-time. So we're very excited about that opportunity and what it might hold for the organization in the future. As Craig had mentioned earlier, we took the board to Waterton and did a retreat. We did a strategic planning session. And the organization's vision is to grow agriculture through leadership, innovation, and collaboration. We have a mission to support profitable, environmentally sound agriculture by creating innovative opportunities, adapting to emerging issues, and disseminating unbiased information. The cool thing to note after our strategic planning session is that the board still felt that our strategic goals, our vision, and our mission were all still relevant. So they didn't change. However, they did come up with these 5 key focus areas. The first thing, we want to create a meaningful relationship with our members. We want to know more about you. We want to have a closer relationship so that we have that insight into what you need. The second thing we want to do is we want to have a really awesome board. We want to have effective people who can help us move to the next level. The third thing that we want is to increase our annual budget to $3 million in the next 5 years. The fourth thing that we need is we want the ability to do regionally applied research. So we want to be able to do research that matters to people in Southern Alberta. And the last thing that we need is the money to be able, the resources to be able to do that. Not just the money, but all the resources to be able to do those things. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is something new. In the past, we've had people come up to us and comment that they'd really like to be able to come to all the events, But they don't want to have to pull out their credit card every single time. They just want to be able to go online and pay in advance and come to everything that we have to offer. So we're granting that wish to those people that have asked in the past, and hopefully more of you will be interested in taking advantage of it. It's just a convenience factor. So you'll be able to go online, pay once, and come to an event, all of our events throughout the year. The other option that we have is a company or farm pass, and you'll be able to have that flexibility to send this person today, and with the fields goal, you're going to send somebody else. The conference, you'll send somebody else again. You have that flexibility. And as Craig mentioned, we have the ability to do tax receipts now that we're a registered charity. So we're perfectly happy to accept research investments. And basically with that, we're just looking at the ability to have funds in the bank to be able to do the research that people in Southern Alberta say we want. This is the information we are looking for. This is what we want you to do research on. And if we have the money in the bank, then we don't have to worry about trying to leverage those funds and then look at trying to get approval for funding that comes either from all of Alberta or across the prairie provinces. So if we have those funds just from here, then we can do regionally applied research. And that is one of the goals. Our next trip. As I mentioned, we had a really successful trip to Germany, and we're looking at our next trip. Anybody know where this is? Cuba. So we are looking at a 7 to 10 day trip, likely in November, and we're gonna likely be staying in an all-inclusive with day trips out to different places, possibly even one overnight along the way. The cost, we're hoping to keep it between $2,000 to $3,000. However, with the US dollar the way it is, that might be more of a challenge, but we'll see what we can do. A little bit of background. In the late 1980s, the collapse of the Soviet Union caused a ripple throughout Cuba, which resulted in a decline in the amount of imports, including chemicals and food. This has led to widespread organic and localized food model for them. And large state farms were transformed into worker-owned cooperatives and small independent family farms. So out of necessity, they had to replace all the chemical fertilizers with organic and biofertilizers. They use a lot of manure, compost, wastewater, cover crops, mulch, that kind of stuff. And the Cuban Ministry of Agriculture National Plant Protection Institute, they have to work on their acronyms, holy smokes. And they have developed a network of 280 centers for production of biocontrol agents suited to local crops and conditions. They have 27 integrated pest management programs in place for 27 crops, controlling a total of 74 insects and mite and several fungal diseases. Roughly 90% of the fresh produce consumed in Havana is grown by organoponics, or these small vegetables, rooftop, backyard garden type things, and small 2 to 15 hectare suburban farms. And their goal for Cuba, their urban agriculture, is to meet the nutritional goal of 300 grams of fresh vegetables per person per day. So that's a lot, I think, in comparison to what Canada has to offer. So that is where I leave you.